After the Russian offensive from late winter to mid to late spring made no significant gains anywhere but the town of Bakhmut, Ukraine hopes to use Russia's stalled push to regain momentum, perhaps breaking some lines and retaking some ground. Ukraine has set itself the goal of total liberation, including Crimea. Bakhmut had been the focus of heavy fighting for several months before the Ukrainians launched a counteroffensive. Ukrainian troops began counterattacks against Russian troops in early June, mainly in the southeastern regions of Zaporizhzhia and Donetsk, which were annexed by Russia. Several villages in the two regions have been recaptured, the Ukrainian military said, and experts believe the Kyiv operation is in its initial testing and reconnaissance stage. However, the slow pace of profits has raised questions. President Volodymyr Zelensky told the BBC on 21 June that progress on the battlefield was slower than desired. Video footage shows fighters of the 80th Airborne Assault Brigade of the Ukrainian Armed Forces showing how they clear a platoon stronghold captured from Russian invaders in the Klishchiivka area south of Bakhmut. Frontline volunteer People's Representative and blogger Yuri Mesygin showed a corresponding video on his Twitter page. In fact, a grenade was thrown into each dugout or pit. It was obvious that this had already been done after the fierce battle had ended, and it also takes time to edit videos. Meanwhile, a fighter from the 24th Separate Assault Battalion Aidar of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Stanislav, reported on the Telegram channel Sniper Speaks that the Lviv paratroopers today cleared a kilometer of forest path and are continuing the offensive. Bakhmut, which had seen months of heavy fighting, was now largely destroyed. Labeled a meat grinder, the city of Donetsk has more symbolic value than strategic weight to whichever side can seize it. In Bakhmut and elsewhere, Ukrainian and Russian forces are expected to suffer heavy losses in personnel and equipment. As part of a broader counteroffensive, Ukraine has received a boost in its offensive around Bakhmut in Donetsk Oblast. The UK Ministry of Defense said in its daily intelligence update on Monday. Ukrainian troops had made progress on the northern and southern flanks of Bakhmut. Another video shows fighters from the 1st Mechanized Battalion of the 28th Separate Mechanized Brigade of the Ukrainian Armed Forces seizing Russian occupier positions near Kurdyumivka. First, 2 launches of incendiary projectiles, destroying anti-tank mines, from mine installations are shown. They explode near enemy support. Then 3 of our infantry fighting vehicles rushed across the field at him, shooting from their automatic weapons. Despite the enemy fire, the 3 BMPs arrived and landed in front of the enemy trenches. For some time, our infantry together with the BMPs conducted heavy fire on the enemy trenches. Then the BMP returned intact and our attack aircraft broke through the invaders' trenches. At the end of the video, you can see how the surviving invaders escape. As a result of the battle, the enemy battalion was defeated. Up to 35 were knocked out, 40 fled, part of the invaders surrendered, concluded the 28th Brigade, and asked the Ukrainians to support their troops. Russian strike forces faced multiple threats along a 125-mile section of the front, with Ukrainian troops making ground around Bakhmut. Britain's Ministry of Defense has reported, amid the fallout from the weekend's Wagner uprising. After canceling his troops' march for justice towards Moscow, mercenary warlord Yevgeny Prigozhin is expected to go into exile in Belarus as part of a deal that pulled Russia and Vladimir Putin back from the brink of potential disaster. As the world watched a brief armed uprising unfold, many questioned whether Ukraine would take advantage of the chaos and step up its counteroffensive, which has made small gains into Russian-controlled territory in recent weeks. While there was no early sign of a major new push to capitalize on the confusion in the Russian ranks, there were reports of Kyiv troops attacking on 3 fronts: around the Russian-controlled city of Bakhmut, and along the border between western Donetsk and eastern Zaporizhzhia, and further west in the Zaporizhzhia Oblast. The General Staff of the Ukrainian Armed Forces reported on June 27 that Russia had lost 227,100 soldiers in Ukraine since the start of the full-scale invasion on February 24 last year. This number includes the 930 casualties suffered by Russian forces over the past few days. Deputy Defense Minister Hanna Maliar said Ukraine had reclaimed 17 square kilometers of land in the past week, bringing the total for June's offensive to 50 square miles. He also said Ukrainian forces had recaptured other settlements previously held by Russia on the southern front and urged them to press on. The Ukrainian Armed Forces have occupied, held, and are trying to expand their positions on the left bank of the Dnieper in the Kherson region, in the area of the Antonov bridgehead near the occupied town of Oleshki. This was stated, among other things, by the American Institute for the Study of War, ISDO, in its latest summary of events ahead. ISDO also quoted the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine saying about the occupiers' airstrikes in the Oleshki district. However, we note that the term "in area" is too vague to draw any geographic conclusions. President Volodymyr Zelensky acknowledged that progress had not been as fast as hoped, although Ukraine began deploying more Western-supplied weapons and tanks. In an ominous sign for Russia, Ukraine's Defense Minister Alexei Reznikov said over the weekend that the main offensive of the counteroffensive had not yet begun. But there has been a breakthrough in the Mokry-Yaly River Valley, south of Velika Novosilka in Donetsk, and the recapture of Rivnopol will be a continuation of this advance. Russian troops have confirmed that there was fighting for Rivnopol on June 16, 2 weeks after the official launch of the Ukrainian summer counteroffensive. Meanwhile, about 80 miles away, Ukrainian residents in the frontline town of Klishchiivka, near Bakhmut in the eastern region of Donetsk, told AFP that 4 explosions rocked a residential district overnight.